Good evening and welcome into tonight's news summary. Foreign Minister Ayman al-Safadi and his counterparts from the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, Turkey, Iraq, Lebanon and Egypt issue a joint statement affirming a unified stance on restoring Syria's security and stability. The Jordan Hashemite charity organization dispatches a new humanitarian convoy of 50 trucks to northern Gaza. And Israeli strikes on the Gaza Strip have killed 94 Palestinians, as UNICEF says that about 28 children die in the Strip every day. Welcome again. Royal Hashemite Court Chief Yusuf Al-Isawi has attended part of sector-focused workshops at the Royal Court covering agriculture, food security and healthcare. The meetings were part of the second phase of the economic modernisation vision launched under the patronage of His Majesty King Abdullah. Al-Isawi said the vision is a strategic national priority that reflects the King's directive for timely, impactful reform. Foreign ministers of Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Oman, Qatar, Kuwait, Lebanon and Egypt held 2 days of intensive discussions on developments in Syria and issued a joint statement affirming a unified stance on restoring Syria's security and stability. In a joint statement, the ministers reiterated their support for Syria's sovereignty, unity and territorial integrity and rejected all forms of foreign interference in its internal affairs. The ministers welcomed the ceasefire agreement reached in Sweden and called for its full implementation to safeguard civilians, uphold state authority and protect national unity. They also commended Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara's pledge to hold those responsible for recent violations in Sweden accountable. The statement also called on the UN Security Council to uphold its responsibilities and enforce Resolution 2766 and the 1974 Disengagement Agreement demanding a full Israeli withdrawal from occupied Syrian territory. The Jordan Hashemite Charity Organization, in coordination with the Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army and the World Food Programme, has dispatched a new humanitarian convoy of 50 trucks to northern Gaza. The convoy carries essential food supplies as part of Jordan's ongoing relief efforts since the beginning of the war. The organization says the convoy specifically targets northern Gaza, where food chains have collapsed and the humanitarian situation is catastrophic. The aid is being distributed under an emergency response plan, monitored closely by relevant authorities and directed to the most affected families in coordination with local partners in Gaza. The Jordan Hashemite Charity Organization reaffirmed Jordan's commitment to supporting Palestinians and helping alleviate the suffering caused by the deepening crisis in the Strip. Jordan has strongly condemned the bombing or the Israeli bombing of the Church of the Latin Monastery in Gaza City, also known as the Holy Family Church, which killed and injured dozens, describing the strike as a blatant breach of international law, including the 1994 Geneva Convention on the protection of civilians in time of war. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Sufyan Liqda said the attack reflects the ongoing aggression by Israel's extremist government and its systematic targeting of innocent civilians in Gaza. Liqda stressed that Israel must comply with its legal obligations under international humanitarian law and immediately halt all assaults on civilian infrastructure and religious sites. He called on the international community to uphold its legal and moral responsibilities by taking urgent action to end the Israeli assault and ensure the immediate and sufficient entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Jordan's Private Hospitals Association has received the 7th group of children from Gaza in need of urgent medical care, consisting of 35 young patients accompanied by 72 relatives. The group arrived in Jordan on Wednesday as part of the ongoing Jordanian Medical Corridor Initiative and was distributed to several member hospitals of the association. Association President Fawzi Al-Hammouri said the effort reflects Jordan's humanitarian duty and is carried out in close coordination with the Jordan Armed Forces, the Health Ministry and the World Health Organization. He stressed that despite challenges, the association remains fully committed to implementing His Majesty King Abdullah's directives to provide treatment for 2,000 children and their families from Gaza. And over to the Gaza Strip now, where Israeli strikes have killed 94 Palestinians with over 360 others injured in the past 24 hours. According to the Health Ministry, many victims remain trapped under rubble or in inaccessible areas to rescue teams. The total death toll since October 2023 has now risen to nearly 58,700, with nearly 140,000 others injured. The United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, says that at least 28 children are killed every day in Gaza over the past 2 years. Speaking at a UN Security Council meeting on Gaza, UNICEF Executive Director Catherine Russell said each of Gaza's 1 million children has faced immense suffering and that these children will face lifelong impacts due to the deprivation and exposure to traumatic events. Russell added that these children will need mental and psychological support.
An average of 28 children have been killed each day, the equivalent of an entire classroom. Consider that for a moment, a whole classroom of children killed every day for nearly 2 years. These children are not combatants. They are being killed and maimed as they line up for life-saving food and medicine.
Back here at home, 2 Royal Air Force Black Hawk aircraft took part in extinguishing wildfires raging in the Sakib Wadi Sham area in Jerash Governorate, which have destroyed large areas of forest land. The 2 aircraft, in cooperation with civil defense groups in Jerash, are contributing to extinguishing the fire to prevent it from spreading to other areas, given the difficult terrain of the area, which prevented civil defense vehicles from reaching the fire site. The armed forces have affirmed their constant readiness to harness their capabilities and capacities to support national efforts in confronting natural disasters and emergency circumstances. Amman's public prosecutor summoned Member of Parliament Yanal Frihat over a social media post allegedly expressing support for the banned Muslim Brotherhood and casting doubt on state actions against it. According to legal sources, the post may violate Jordan's cybercrime law, which prohibits online support for outlawed organizations or content that undermines public order or judicial processes. Thank you so much for your time.